Hey everybody, it's Dixie Dan. Have you ever wanted to own a vacation rental in St. George, Utah? We're going to be learning more about vacation rentals and see if it's the right fit for you. You'll want to watch till the end because we're going to talk to Brandon Hansen, who finances most of these vacation homes here in the St. George area. We're here with Amanda Horning. She is the Business Development Manager for Red Rock Vacation Rentals. How are you doing, Amanda?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Well, thanks for joining us for this. Tell us, why is St. George such a great place to have a vacation rental?
It's close to the snow, it's close to the mountains, it's close to the water. There's trails, there's hiking, there's good people. There's a lot to do outside. So if you're an outdoorsy person, 100% this is your playground.
Zion National Park down the road. They had just under 5 million people last year, right? Just
Yep.
Zion.
Correct.
You guys have any idea how many people visit St. George?
A lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of people. Well, we have so many,
Millions.
millions. We have so many events that come through St. George, the marathon, PGA Golf Tour this year. We've got Ironman, all of the sporting events Huntsman Senior Games, yeah, and which we are the preferred management company for a lot of those. And so we find partnerships with a lot of those companies and a lot of those events. And then just think of all of those kids sporting events. We're consistently hosting softball tournaments, soccer tournaments, baseball, all of the above.
Now, what is the rental season like here in St. George?
That's a really good question because this surprises a lot of people. And so we kind of kick off President's Day in February, and it always lands about the Parade of Homes. That's kind of our big kickoff. We get crazy busy. And then March is busy. We've got spring break. We're crazy through June. I mean, April, May is busy. June is crazy. July is busy. Our slowest months are going to be December and January, which for a lot of people who want to use their property, this is good news for them because they would think, oh, well, isn't it warmer down there in December, January? Isn't that where people come to get out of the cold? Yeah. But that's you. That's you. If you own a property in southern Utah and it's a vacation rental and you want to escape the snow, great. You won't eat into your revenue as much as you think you would.
So even though it's like blazing hot in the summertime, right?
Yep.
You still have consistent rental through the summer?
Amenities are huge. They really, truly are. And we feel blessed to manage in some of the best communities in southern Utah. We're kind of picky on where we manage. And so we want the amenities to be something that people are looking for. So definitely Desert Color with this giant lagoon. It's beautiful. People come from all over to see it.
Right.
So it's fun to see, but amenities are really big. Water is huge. You want to have something fun, something that attracts the adults and the children.
Water activities, right? And then pickleball seems to be like a big reason.
I knew that was coming up, yes. Pickleball's huge.
That's the buzzword.
Pickleball is huge. I mean, if you've played, you know it.
Yeah.
So 100%, you've got to have a pickleball court. You have to have something that these people are coming for. They want these things.
What are some things people do in the wintertime here?
So that's where
You can still swim.
Yes, well, and a lot of our amenities, if you have a heated pool, you've got hot tubs, so you already have that. And a lot of the wintertime activities are going to be related to more of the outdoorsy pickleball, tennis, basketball. There's consistently going to be sporting events hosted throughout those times.
Amanda, what is the role of a vacation rental management company?
We do work with a lot of new owners, and I get to walk them through the whole entire process of what we do. And a lot of the times they're surprised when I say, you give us a furnished property with all of the things that we ask, and we take care of everything else. And then I explain our whole process, and they go, oh, really? I don't have to do anything. And I'm like, exactly. We are a full service vacation rental management company. We got you.
What can someone expect to pay a vacation management company that's full service like that?
So we are a 30% commission. That is based off of the rent that we bring in a month. And so if we don't have people in your property, then we don't make money. So we are highly motivated to place guests in your property.
So what does that 30% management fee cover?
So our fee covers everything from management to guest services, owner services, housekeeping coordination, maintenance, inspections. We do have a crazy conversion rate right now. We get about 60% of our bookings from our Red Rock website, which is huge for us.
One thing that impressed me about Red Rock is that you guys spend, I don't know, 4 to 5 times, right, that other vacation management companies spend in marketing, which goes to Airbnb, VRBO, Booking. I mean, how many websites are there?
Correct. Yeah, so we're everywhere. I mean, on every major marketing platform that you can think of. So Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, Booking.com. We have a partnership with Marriott Villas, so all of the properties are showcased on their website. We're part of the 100 Club, which is something we're really pleased to say and really proud of that. But then a lot of smaller platforms that some of us have never even heard of, but we're there. So anywhere that you can be marketed, we're there. But like I said, that conversion rate, we get about 60% on our website.
Wow. Tell us about dynamic pricing.
We have a lot of software that's just on the back end that is consistently watching for fluctuation in bookings. We know where all of the events land. We know where all of the holidays land. So we have that back end software piece that's continually running. And then we have our front end piece, which is a couple of my revenue specialists, and they are the manual piece that adjust as needed. So if there's an event that's coming into town and we need to raise prices by 10 to 20%, then they're going to be the ones that make that change.
Okay, so it's a little bit like buying a seat on an airplane, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's very much similar to hotel or airline pricing.
Now, do you guys offer anything less than full service?
No, we want to do it all, and we take care of it all, and we're good at it.
There are a lot of people when they think about buying a vacation home here in St. George that say, is the market saturated? Are there too many vacation rentals out there? And if there are more being built and somebody buys one, are they going to be able to rent it?
It's a big concern when we bring on new owners and when they're looking at a vacation rental platform. There are a lot of properties in southern Utah, but they're all getting rented out. I think that's where marketing is huge, and you want to make sure that you are partnered with a good provider who's going to take care of you. Throughout, 2020, everything kind of just came to a head, and St. George was put on the map and everything started to boom from there. Our occupancy has stayed pretty consistent. So even with the growth that we've had, our occupancy through all of our properties has stayed fairly consistent, meaning obviously the supply equals the demand.
Right. So there's more rentals coming on the market, but there's also more demand. It's staying pretty consistent, right? If somebody buys a vacation home here in St. George, what kind of occupancy can they expect? And I know that's going to vary from community to community and what the home has, the amenities, all of that. But what's a sort of an expected occupancy for somebody doing this for the first time?
Yeah, so occupancy, and that is just based off of peak weekends, and that's something that we provide our owners so they know which weekends are going to maximize their revenue. Anywhere between 45 to 55%. Some of our larger properties are hitting about 60% this year, and that's just because we're getting more corporate events. There's a lot of women's retreats that come down, a lot of men's retreats.
Now, if you could pick the perfect vacation home, what would it have and where would it be here in St. George?
I love all my properties, okay? I love all my properties. I love all my owners. I would probably be right here in Desert Color. I would get a large property, and this is if I have all the dollars and I could do all the things. I would get a large property and I would have it sleep 40 plus people so I can maximize on corporate events, huge family reunions. We have seen that those larger properties book out earlier throughout the year, so those are secured bookings that you have by May. I would deck it out with a game room. Comfort level is huge, so you don't want to cram 25 people into a 3-bedroom property because then there's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to eat, it's not comfortable. So comfort and occupancy goes hand in hand.
Amanda, why would somebody want to choose a management company as opposed to managing it on their own?
So we manage these properties 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, including holidays and weekend, and something always happens on Thanksgiving.
Right.
So if you want to run out to your property and replace a broken pan or fix an oven or contact a vendor, that's on you, but we've got you otherwise. We've got all of the marketing. We do cover all the OTA fees, the credit card processing fees. We will market you on every channel that we can think of. We have our service standards. So in Desert Color, we have an on-site team. We have concierge services. We can line you up with a balloon arch. We can get a private chef to the property. There's a lot of things that we can provide above and beyond just the reservations and the cleaning.
That's awesome. So you won't get the call at midnight asking for the Wi-Fi password.
Correct, and that happens.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk with Brandon Hansen at Cherry Creek Mortgage. He's going to tell us the best way to finance these properties. What's some advice you would give to somebody that's not from around here, they're considering buying a vacation home? How do they finance?
A vacation home is just a home. It's usually a little more down, like a 20% down, 25% down. And really everybody's just trying to offset a little bit of income. They're saying, geez, I want to buy a home in here in Desert Color and I'll be there a week out of the month, but I'd love to subsidize that stay with a little bit of income and cash flow.
Most people that are buying these, right, will buy them either as an investment property or as a second home. What's your advice there?
It used to be that the second home interest rate was the same as a primary. So if you were going to buy a second home in St. George, it's the same rate as you're living in Salt Lake. They changed it about a year ago where they moved the second home to the same rate as a rental property. So quite frankly, if it's a second home or a rental property, it's going to be about a point higher or percent higher than if you or your daughter is going to move and live into that house. But they've also offset it with a down payment. They're saying, okay, Dan, if you buy a home and you can put a little more down, let's say 30%, then it's the same rate as if you're going to live in it full time. So a lot of times we're just putting a little more down payment, or we're borrowing a HELOC off of the home in Salt Lake to use as your down payment. So we're just trying to use a little strategy to get that rate about the same as you or your daughter would be in their main home.
People will buy these homes as an investment, right? Or they're looking at it from an investment standpoint. And usually the question is this property going to cash flow? Right. What are your answers to that question when they're looking at nightly rental here?
The main thing is when you're buying a property in Southern Utah, you're going to enjoy it. And so it's the only way of enjoying it whenever you want, and then to produce income on when you're not using it. So it's still a second home / kind of rental property. So normally we try to get it to cash flow as close as we can. And I always say, well, geez, you're buying a $800,000 unit and you're putting 20% down and you're only negative $500 a month, right? Whatever that might be, you're really buying a beautiful home, and you can use it and trying to negate that cash flow as close as you can. In the past, they've cash flowed. Now we got out of the COVID period, so it's usually, or you're putting more down. If you put 30% down, they'll cash flow each month. So, but that's the most popular question, and I usually just say, geez, if I could buy a $700,000 home, use it whenever I want, and only be upside down maybe $500 a month, geez, that's the best of both worlds.
So people should come into it going, this isn't just strictly about numbers and cash flow. This is about the benefits of owning real estate, being able to use it at the same time that you're getting rents to pay and offset that cost of ownership.
That's exactly right. I mean, you're buying a home for you and your family or company to use whenever you want. But you're just offsetting that income that property with some income, and that's the coolest way to buy it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever buy a property and you're only going to use it half the time that you don't have any income? Right? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I just feel like we were talking earlier, the growth and expansion in Southern Utah, I think, is just going to get crazier when you bring in the golf courses and what Ryan Smith and his group's doing down here across the state of Utah. So what you're missing is, you buy this property and appreciation over the next 3 or 4 years, everybody doesn't count that in. They're like, well, geez, I'm going to be in the whole $500. I'm like, yeah, you just bought a beautiful home. You're going to use it whenever you want, and you might be in at $500 a month low, but that home's going to be another $100,000 more in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get crazy in Southern Utah.
From a number standpoint, it's almost more of a long game, right? Where you're like, I'm going to own real estate. It's going to appreciate, even with prices being in some people's eyes like sky high. It's still a long-term investment, really. That's really the key, I think, to buying vacation home, especially here in St. George, is knowing that you can use it.
Absolutely.
You can't really put a price on those types of memories, even with your family, or the time that you're going to be able to spend here.
And that's what I'm saying too. When we look at cash flow, because that's a great question, but let's say you're in at negative $1,000 a month. You're still coming down, like, you couldn't get a hotel room and use it for a week for $1,000 for all your family to use,
right,
your company to use, so you have to look at the bigger picture. The long game is, I don't think you're going to lose buying a piece of property in any part of Utah over the next decade with the craziness that's going up north and down here. So from a cash flow standpoint, remember the long-term appreciation. Remember your family's going to use it when you're considering a property, though.
Okay, Brandon, so how would you summarize what's the right formula to buying a vacation home in St. George?
Well, I don't think there's a right formula, but to be honest, if I could buy a property and put 30% down, then you're getting the same rate if you're going to live in it, right? So if it's me and my partner or my family, and we can put 30% down, a lot of times everybody says, well, Brandon, I don't have quite 30. Can I pull a HELOC or something off my other property to put down? Of course you can, but then it might not make sense. So if you can buy a house for 20% down, you have a little bit higher rate. But if you can go 30% down, whether it's a rental or overnight rental, it's basically the same interest rate that you and I would move in our family in if we're going to live in it full time. The other thing is, if we buy a property today, I also feel like we're at the height of the interest rate market. I think every economist feel like our interest rates are going to come down. So if we could lock in a price in Southern Utah, lock in that loan, then it's my job to try to refi that time again and time again over the next couple of years to sharpen that rate.
Right.
But I do feel like as rates start coming off, it's going to put pressure on these prices to go up. So I still think it's the ideal time to buy. If we can come in with 30%, whether it's you and your partner or your family or company, that's the best niche.
Now let's say somebody is considering a vacation home. They see one that's $1 million and they're like, well, I don't have $200,000 or $300,000 to put down. What would you advise they do?
The coolest thing is, like, if you're out of Colorado or Idaho or California, we can put a HELOC or a down payment on that existing home to use as the down payment out here. So I don't ever want you to use all your cash for the down payment, but if we can free up, if you've got some equity in another property, we would look at doing that. If not, then you can look at different partnerships like the fractional piece or a joint partner where 6 or 7 of you, there's all kinds of home entities where you're not really coming in with that much equity. You're borrowing that difference, but there's a lot of options for families that don't have that down payment and still want to look at buying that home. You need to look at, do I have enough income? But with the investment, and you can use some of the investment and the rental returns to qualify too, so that helps a lot on the qualifying side.
No, that's wonderful. Or you could maybe even talk to a friend or family member, right? That, hey, let's go on this together.
Right.
What's the right formula there? I mean, you don't want to go over, say, 4 people on a purchase.
Normally, if you have more than 4 parties, then you get into a different portfolio type of loan and your interest rates start to move up. What we run into a lot in Southern Utah is families that saying, okay, to my son or daughter, I'll gift you the down payment. I don't want to be on the loan. You're going to qualify for the loan, but we'll both be on title and I'll give you the down payment. That's my buy-in. You'll just make the payment. We enjoy this home together. So we see a lot of families buying those homes, but I might provide the down payment and you might be on the loan and just make it work. There's lots of options like that.
Wow, that's fantastic. So if people are interested, they can take advantage of. Almost anybody can do it. Tell us about where you work and how people can reach out to you if they have questions about financing.
Well, luckily we've been one of the largest lenders, if not the largest lender in the area for the past 20 years. So we're the largest mortgage bank in Cherry Creek and Guild Mortgage in the state of Utah. We service and fund our own loans. So love to help or be an option. It's 525-2222. or BrandonHansonMortgage.com is the easiest way to get hold of me.
If you're thinking about buying a vacation property in St. George, reach out to me. I've been selling them for years and I'm very familiar with the process. I'd love to help you. I'll see you in the next video.